Hello friends, I welcome you all to this virtual learning online platform. In this video, I would like to deal with ambiguities in English. I hope you know that there are many people who speak with others with several words which have double meanings. And that definitely leads to a kind of confusion, a kind of misunderstanding, or a kind of complexity of understanding what exactly the counterpart is trying to say. In English also, we have several words, maybe some homophones, homonyms. Sometimes you come across some modifiers, or else you come across some structural changes that lead to the ambiguity of a sentence. So let us try to learn ambiguity in English. So friends, as I said, in this video, I am going to deal with ambiguity in English. First of all, try to understand what do you mean by an ambiguity. Ambiguity is the quality or a state of being ambiguous, especially in meaning. You may go through a poem, a sentence, or an expression that allows an individual to have several interpretations of it. So in simple words, we can say an ambiguity is a word or an expression or a sentence which can be understood in two or more possible ways. You have several ambiguous words or statements that lead to vagueness and confusion, that also shape the basis for the instances of unintentional humor. Let us look at the following sentence here. I rode a red horse in white pajamas. See, the sentence is definitely a very humorous one. And that actually compels you to make more than one interpretation of the sentence. The meaning one is very obvious here, that once I rode a red horse, and of course, I was wearing the white pajama. But there is also one more possible meaning. And that means once I rode a red horse and the red horse was wearing a white pajamas. It means the sentence actually compels us to think whether the horse was wearing the white pajamas or the rider. So this way, you get multiple meanings from a sentence. And that leads to humor, that leads to ambiguity, that leads to vagueness and confusion as far as the understanding of a sentence or an expression or a word is concerned. In English, we have two types of ambiguities. One is lexical ambiguity, and the second one is the structural ambiguity. What do you mean by the lexical ambiguity? Lexical ambiguity is generally found in the context of somebody's talk or in the context of somebody's written matter, and that is a writing error. I don't know whether it is intentionally done or it happens in the course of writing or speaking, but that occurs when a sentence contains a word that has multiple meanings, that has more than one meaning. So we come across a number of words while using English. When two words have the same form, maybe the homophone or a homonym, or when you have a word that has more than one meaning or multiple meanings called polysemy, all these words definitely lead to a kind of confusion in the mind of the listener or reader. And all such kinds of ambiguities, either based on the homophones, homonyms, or polysemy words, they are called lexical ambiguities. In different words, it is also called as the semantic ambiguity. The semantic ambiguity obscures the speaker's or writer's intent and confuses the listener or the reader. So as a whole, you can say this lexical ambiguity is creating confusion in the mind of a listener or reader based on either the multiple meanings of a word, forms of a word, or else, as I said, you have homophones, homonyms, polysemy words, so on and so on. Let us look at a very classic example in this regard. I went to the bank. The first meaning that you derive is very obvious. Maybe for some money transactions, I went to the bank. And that is the very obvious meaning that everyone takes. But at the same time, you will also find another meaning of the word bank. When I say the word bank, it has multiple meanings. Bank is a place where the money transactions are done. It's a commercial spot, authorized spot. Whereas the word bank also means a bank of a river. So here when I say I went to the bank, it means I went to a bank of the river. It also means I went to the bank for money transactions. So this is how the word bank, which has multiple meanings, creates a confusion in the mind of the reader or a listener. And then you come to a state called confusion, called complexity, called ambiguity. Then you have another type of ambiguity that you call structural ambiguity. See, there is a difference between semantic ambiguity or lexical ambiguity and structural ambiguity. As I said before, the semantic or the lexical ambiguity leads to the ambiguous statement based on the meaning of the words. Whereas you have the structural ambiguity, and the structural ambiguity leads to the ambiguous statements based on the analysis of the structure. So the structural or syntactic ambiguity, or you also call it grammatical ambiguity, is the potential of multiple interpretations for a piece of written or spoken language. It means the structural ambiguity has a lot of potential of multiple interpretations, but these interpretations are not only based on the meanings of the words, but these interpretations are purely based on the structural analysis of the sentence, whether it is spoken or written. So the way words or phrases are organized, that actually leads to ambiguity. Some structural ambiguity is the result of writing errors, as I said earlier also. We don't do it intentionally, but sometimes it happens, right? So some structural ambiguity is the result of the writing errors, and such as misplaced modifiers in the sentences. The syntactic ambiguity or structural ambiguity, or as you call it, grammatical ambiguity, is actually the presence of two or more possible meanings within a single sentence or a sequence of words. On the contrary, you see the lexical ambiguity. Lexical ambiguity is purely based on the two or more possible meanings within a single word. But here you have the two or more possible meanings within a single sentence or a group of words or a sequence of words, as you call it. So this is the essential difference between the lexical ambiguity and structural ambiguity. When a sentence or a clause can be interpreted in more than one way because of the way it is constructed, and then such kind of ambiguities are called structural ambiguities. The ambiguity or the confusion that comes from the way the sentence is actually put together, the order of the words, and not from the definition of words. Structural ambiguity is happening because of the order of words, whereas the lexical ambiguity is happening because of the definition of the words. And that is the essential difference between the two. But as far as ambiguity is concerned, it is for sure that it is going to lead to multiple interpretations, whether they are based on the definition of words or the order of words. Because whenever you interpret a sentence, you have a subject and a predicate. More particularly, within the predicate, you have the verbs, objects, adverbs, complements. And the moment you interpret that in different ways, automatically you will be able to derive multiple meanings from the same single sentence. Let us look at a couple of examples in this respect. The bark was painful. Now you see here, the word bark is giving you a couple of meanings. One, the bark of a tree that was rough, that was why it was painful. And another meaning of the word bark is the barking of dogs. And whenever it is happening or the dogs are constantly barking, that is also a painful experience for a listener. So the word bark is giving you multiple meanings, more than one meaning. And that's why it is a case of lexical ambiguity. Similarly, you have another sentence on the board. Ganesh should bring snacks or fried and dessert. Now you see the meaning over here. In the structural point of view, you need to segregate the words, and that will give you a different meaning. Meaning one is Ganesh should bring snacks or fried. It means either he should get snacks or fried. It means one of the two, and dessert. Right? So one meaning will be Ganesh should bring just snacks and desserts, or else Ganesh should bring just fried and desserts. So the interpretation of the words like snacks or dessert, snacks or fried, and dessert, that actually leads you to confusion. What do I bring? Suppose you are Ganesh. What do I bring? What this Ganesh is supposed to bring? He should bring snacks and fried and dessert, 3 items, or else he should go for only 2 combinations, snacks and dessert, or fried and dessert. So these are the multiple options available now for interpretation. So this is actually very ambiguous when you come across such kind of verbal expressions or the written sentences as well. Let us look at the lexical ambiguity. As I said before, lexical ambiguity is happening because of the multiple meanings of a word. Once you get a word or a group of words and that definition is leading to ambiguity, is called a lexical ambiguity. Look at this sentence here. It's a simple sentence. They can fish. They is a third person plural number functioning as subject. Can fish is a verb phrase. Can is a modal auxiliary. To fish, fishing, is a verb. The first interpretation of the sentence gives you a very obvious meaning that they are capable of fishing. Can is a word that lets you know about your capability, capacity. So the meaning will be they are capable of fishing, right? On the other hand, now you can interpret it in different ways. They are canning the fish means they are packing the fish in cans. They can fish. They functions as third person plural number. Can is mentioning the process of canning, the process of packaging. And what are they packing now? They are packing the fish into containers. Right? So here you get the meaning. They can fish means they are canning the fish. That means they are packing the fish in cans or containers. So here the meaning of can is capacity, and another meaning of can is packaging or canning something into containers. So these are the two meanings of a word can. So you have meaning one, they are capable of fishing. Meaning number two, they are canning the fish. It means they are packing the fish in cans and containers. So these are the two possible interpretations of this ambiguity. Let us look at another sentence here. A dull boy joke. See, here you can interpret in two different ways. Meaning one, there is a boy, unfortunately, who is dull, and this dull boy cracked a joke. Okay, this is the obvious meaning of the sentence. A dull boy's joke. So you have a boy who is unfortunately dull and he cracked a joke. So who is that boy? That boy is dull, he cracked a joke. Now you see the another possible meaning 2 or M2, a joke about a dull boy which is being cracked by someone else. That is also called like a dull boy's joke. Okay. So here, who is cracking the joke? Somebody else is telling a joke. Somebody else is cracking the joke. But the joke itself is about a dull boy. So this is the possible another interpretation of this particular sentence. Let us look at the third one. We beat them. The verb beat has multiple meanings. Okay. B-E-A-T, beat means to overcome somebody, to be victorious, to be triumphant. And to beat means to physically assault somebody. See now the meanings over here. Meaning 1. Maybe there is a sports event or an academic event or some sort of competition is going on there. And in that competition, what happened? We are the victorious and they are the losers. Then I say, we beat them. It means we are successful, they are the losers. We won the match, we won the event, whereas they are unsuccessful. So that is the meaning. M1 in sports event or academic event or any competition, we beat them. It means we are successful, we are victorious, we are triumphant, whereas they are unsuccessful, they are the losers. But see the another meaning now, we beat them. Maybe there was a brawl between the two groups and unfortunately we have to manhandle them, and then the meaning 2 is we physically assaulted them. It means we physically beat them. We physically manhandled them. This is the another possible meaning of this sentence. Then you have one more sentence on the board. The thesis was passed on. See, this word passed on has multiple meanings. Before I explain, I would like to tell you multiple meanings of this word passed on. Passed on means to give something to someone, right? Another meaning is to make a decision. Third meaning is to make someone pay a cost. And the fourth meaning is it's a polite expression for die or to die. Now, in the context of the present sentence, the thesis was passed on. I would like to take up the first two meanings over here for interpretation, because the other two may not be that much applicable here. So the meaning 1 is the authorities like the supervisor or the research center or the university made a decision about the thesis. And that's why somebody said the thesis was passed on. Okay, the thesis was passed on means the authorities like supervisor or the research center or the university made a decision about the thesis, whether to award the thesis with the PhD degree or not. That kind of decision is taken by. Then there is another possible meaning. Another possible meaning is to hand over something to someone. It means the thesis was forwarded by the authorities, maybe like supervisor, research center, or the university to somebody else, maybe to the referee. Okay, so that is given. Okay, that thesis is given to somebody or someone. So that is just passing on from one hand to the another hand. That is the meaning. But the decision is pending in this case because I am taking the another interpretation of the word passed on. So this way, this sentence is very ambiguous. The thesis was passed on. It means whether the thesis was handed over to somebody else physically, or else the thesis was really, passed on means the decision is taken up by the university or research center or the supervisor about it. So it leads to the confusion of understanding. You have one more sentence on your screen. A new English dictionary. See, in one case, dictionary as a book is new, and in the another case, it's a dictionary of new English. Means it is not about old English, it is about new English. So meaning one is a dictionary, okay, a new dictionary of English language. Means the dictionary or the book, it is not old, it is new. Maybe very, recently, but from the shop. A new dictionary, not old dictionary, not used. It is fresh, brand new. A new dictionary, that of English language. That is the first meaning. Second meaning is a dictionary of new English, not old English. The dictionary physically as a book may be old or new. That is not, mentioned here. But the meaning is the new English. It is not the dictionary of old English. Okay, it is the dictionary of modern English, new English. So this is the another meaning of the sentence. So this is how we can derive multiple meanings from a word of a sentence. And once you get multiple meanings, automatically that leads to the ambiguity, and that kind of study is called the lexical ambiguity or the study of lexical ambiguity. So that's all for the day. And I'll come up with a few more examples of lexical ambiguity, followed by structural ambiguity. Thank you very much.